All right, we're here to talk about today the Creative Space Activation Grant. This is the third time we're offering this grant, and I have to say it's one of the more fun and exciting ways that we award this grant. And
Hmm.
we're going to go through the specifics, but this has a two-part application. The first part being a kind of traditional paper application, defining your project and budget and those sorts of things. But then the finalists present at the state conference at the pitch party at the Show Me Bash and in front of a crowd of folks and sell, explain, have fun with the crowd and explaining their project. And then we have a panel of judges, and there's also crowd audience participation. So we have a lot of fun with this one, and it's one that I always look forward to. All right, Gayla, do you want to talk about, let's talk about two
Sure.
of our winners, our two past winners, just to give you some ideas about how this grant has been used in the past.
All right. So, good morning, everybody. And it's a very fun, as Keith said, it is the funnest way that we give out a grant, I think. Um, and so this is one of actually 2 years ago, one of our past winners. And this is Del Mar in St. Louis. And so they did an area of activation with murals. They used local artists from the area. Actually did a whole like resume piece of it of why they felt like they could showcase Del Mar on these different panels that they could place. And originally they were placed on a corner in Del Mar. And part of the pitch was all about this corner coming into Del Mar. It's a building, as you can see, a lot of it was boarded up. Just really needed some love on that corner to say, okay, yes, this is the beginning of Del Mar, but there's so many wonderful things going on. And so they did a installation project with these. Now they have moved some of the installation around. I believe they had 6 different artists. And anyway, their whole pitch was about activating space, knowing that there's people there that care about this space and this building. And they use local artists. And they also raised other awareness and other funds for the project as well. So just a really good collaboration of a lot of different people that made this happen. If you all have not been in this district, a lot of our directors have, because we had a directors retreat in the Del Mar area a couple of years ago. But this is a very artsy area. A lot of different arts facilities are there. And so it just really, really showcases what Del Mar is all about.
Yeah, and they really worked with some partners. They have St. Louis Artworks in their district, which is a lot of student young adults related to art and the field. And so utilized St. Louis Artworks to help them with this project. You see two pictures of two artists here. They did a request for proposals for artists. Really engaged the community and really brought the community together to do the project. It's a lot of fun. And if you go to their Facebook page, they do have a link where you can virtually see these installations. So that was another little added thing to their project. All right, our winner last year was Liberty, Historic Downtown Liberty, Inc. And their district is bordered by a very busy street called Mill Street. And their district spans across Mill Street. Actually, we gave an award, and our workshop last Thursday was in Corbin Mill, which is across that street from the traditional Courthouse Square area. And so, crossing traffic or crossing the street, getting across can be hazardous a little bit. And so they wanted to do some road diet experimentation with slowing traffic down on Mill Street and making it more pedestrian friendly. And so they took a bunch of volunteers and a bunch of ideas that they had learned at conferences, both state conference and national conference, on things they could do to this road to experiment. with how can we slow it down? How can we make it fun? How can we activate the street and demonstrate to the community that a road diet is not bad? Many times we think we need 4 lanes of road or 3 lanes of road, when really we probably don't need that much space any longer. And of course, many of us have learned through those conferences and things that the wider the road, the faster the cars go.
Yeah.
And so when we narrow the road down, we slow traffic down. And so here's some of the really cool pictures from their project. They used paint to create a big, huge people, pedestrian space and bike lanes. They brought in benches. They brought in temporary plantings to create the bump outs. They brought in food trucks. They had activities planned for that day and really demonstrated to the city and to the community that you can do this and it's really not going to affect the traffic. And they did surveys afterwards and really had good comments from the community about the project. And so really had fun. I'm not sure. I haven't heard recently on, are there now plans to do this permanently and make this a permanent fixture? But I know that was their ultimate goal, was to demonstrate that we could slow this road down. And the other thing about this road is that there's a school on it. So there's lots of reasons why this should happen because of a lot of the school and neighborhoods. So kids walk to school, bike to school. And so this would be a great way to also make it safer for the students going to school. All right, let's talk about the grant.
Yeah, so let's get into the nitty gritty of it. And just so you all know, this is the first time that we've done a webinar on it. And the reason we're doing the webinar is because we're changing it up just a little bit. It has become more competitive. Everybody wants to, get $10,000 to do an activation project. So we felt like it was very crucial for us to do this webinar and just kind of give some basis and some overview of the things that the judges are looking for and the processes. So, of course, it's for outdoor space, it's for placemaking. What we like to say is that, things that can happen now quickly, but also you're going to see that now we would like to have a piece of it that's sustainable, where it can carry on to be part of a larger project. And so the grant award is $10,000. What we do is once you're awarded the grant, after we get back from a state conference, then you get your first $5,000, and then you get your final $5,000 when the project's completed. So it's a total of $10,000. And then, of course, the project is open to any Main Street program that is under agreement with MMSC. And you also have to be in good standing, of course, with MMSC. And if you guys don't know what that means, then, we can talk about it at the end. We're going to have plenty of time for Q&A. So the application is due by June 24th by midnight. And so now the judges will go through all of those applications early on with all of the judges. They will pick out the cream of the crop that they believe by paper and looking at the photos and the paper. And then at that time, it would be condensed down. And we've always said that we'll have 5 finalists, but it's really about the cream of the crop. So there may be 2 great finalists. There may be 3. There may be 7. We don't know. So we are not pinning ourselves into a corner and saying, we're going to pick 5. We're saying that the judges will select the best ones to make their final pitch. And so the judges, like I said, will look at all of the documentation. As you guys know, when you're doing paper for a grant, it's not the full story. And so the full story and what they really want to see is a very interactive project showcase at the pitch party. I will tell you, just from past experience with the judges, we're going to go through that scorecard here in a little bit, but they want to see interactive. You guys, just putting up a PowerPoint presentation isn't it. They want to see some activity, and they want to see that there's people there that's really behind this, not just one person. So those relationships and really showing that this is a community effort. Part of that scoring is by the judges of that participation and how you showcase this in your pitch, but then also it is by audience participation as well, those that are watching the pitch party at the state conference. And then the winners, they'll get an agreement from us that they have to sign to get their 5,000 first. That agreement is just that you're going to do it. You're going to meet the deadline. You're going to showcase, and we're going to go through a few of those things. Now we need to have that some kind of signage, something that is showing that MMSC helped sponsor this. So there's just different things that will be outlined in that agreement. You also have to give reporting to us. So if it's something that's going to take 6 months, we may ask you in the middle of that 3-month period for you to give us an update so we can showcase it on our social media, those kind of things. We do keep it very simple. It's not a complicated agreement between us and the winner. Okay. The only other thing that you do have to have a ticket to come and pitch your project. So the at the Show Me Bash, this is where you will make your pitch. You do have to have tickets to get in and make your pitch. That's just part of trying to get this award of $10,000.
So here's the scoring criteria. High scoring projects will demonstrate these things that are listed here. And this was actually enhanced this with our judges in the past, helping with the scoring and saying, hey, we probably need to think about this a little bit more, or, maybe not as much emphasis here. And so clear demonstration of need of the project in the district, project durability. Gayla talked about that earlier. Long-term, can be a piece of a bigger project, or, the project could be itself all the $10,000. But looking for, how is this going to sustain or be sustained in the district? Project does need to be completed in 6 to 12 months, though. On that previous slide at the bottom, it does need to be completed by June 3rd of 2025, just because we're getting ready to do the next grant round. And so just keep that in mind for completion. Projects impact on district stakeholders and that visibility, and then showcasing those strong partnerships. Engaging, this is the part Gail was talking about at the pitch party, an engaging presentation. We've had all kinds of presentations at the pitch party, from a PowerPoint to videos to skits, and or a combination of all three.
Yes, exactly.
You have a time limit to complete your presentation, so just figuring that out. And making sure that you fit within that time frame. Audience participation, Gayla talked about that too. There is a place where we get audience applause and hoots and hollers to gauge the audience's thoughts on who the winner should be. And then again, a new piece is, how are you going to display that this is a project with Missouri Main Street Connection? So how do you creatively do that? So next we're going to go to the application, and I'm going to switch over to Submittable. We're using Submittable this year for all of our application stuff. And so let's see. We needed to make a change as we're getting bigger, more and more applications coming in, more people applying for award nominations at the state conference. We're offering more grants. And so we needed a better way to manage that, instead of the old fill in the PDF, email it to us. Sometimes we get them, sometimes we don't. Attachments are too large. So we have moved to Submittable.
Just like our award nominations for conference. So
yeah,
it's going through Submittable as well.
Yep. The award nominations, Paul Bruin, those are the first two that we've done. And then now we're also accepting sessions for the state conference too through Submittable. So this is my view of it. The grant will go live. It'll look very similar to yours, but this is my view as an administrator. So I have some other stuff up here that doesn't necessarily apply to you, but this is what it will basically look like when you see it. The name of your Main Street program, basic information, project name, that can be the director, could be the board president, could be the design chair, whoever is managing this project. And then their contact information, simple stuff, population of your community, size of your district. Then we want to know who your Missouri rep and Missouri senator are, and then your U.S. Representative, because we do like to keep them informed about things that are going on in our Main Street districts. Then we get into describe your proposed project. So this is where you have that ability to just do a narrative. It's 300 words. I'll talk about the attachments in just a second so you can visually demonstrate your project, but this would be the verbal portion of that. What is the overall goal? Does the project meet the needs of downtown? Is this something that our downtown needs? Sometimes we don't want these to be just a pet project of a particular board member or whatever. We want this to fit into what's happening in your downtown. And if you can tie it to a transformation strategy, all the better. And then estimated volunteer hours for the project. And then a list of key partners that you're going to be working with. That's one of those scoring criteria things that we mentioned. Uploading at least 5 photos. So these could be before photos of your site. Could also be a drawing of your project. Maybe it's a blueprint, a diagram, whatever it may be to show your project area and your proposed ideas. So you can upload up at least 5, but we give you up to 10. So you do have some extra capabilities there. And these are all the accepted files that we will accept. So lots of different options there for you to submit stuff. And then we need a letter of support from your mayor. And if the project is on private property, we also need a letter of support from that property owner that they're giving their okay for this project to go there. And so they'll give you up 2 files there, one for the mayor, and then if you have need the additional one for the property owner. And then we need a letter from the Main Street organization noting that the board supports this project and is committed to working with property owners if there's a change that happens. And we've had that happen, some change in where the project was going to go because of XYZ. We know things happen, but a commitment of the board to work with this project. And then we need an action plan. Everything in Main Street happens through action plans. So we want to know that you've got a good plan to execute this project. And so dates, activities, who's responsible, and then the cost. This also helps you with your budget. And again, reminding you that the grant, you can't start working on it until at least August 14th. And then you have to be completed by June 3rd of 2025. And then what are the proposed materials that you're using and the durability of those? How many businesses, residents, and visitors will this project impact? And then how did you arrive at those numbers? It's a little backing of okay, here's what we think, but here's the methodology we used. And it doesn't have to be an economic development algorithm. We just need some estimations of how you came up with that number. And then can the project be built or completed in 6 to 12 months? And how will you give credit to us, Missouri Main Street, MMSC in the project? And then again, here's that criteria down below. Gayla, did I miss anything? Anything else that we need to emphasize from past years that I'm not remembering with the application?
No, I think you covered that very, very well. The only other thing I wanted to mention though is submittable. So anybody that hasn't been on it yet, when you go into submittable, you're going to see that we are sharing it with 2 other coordinating programs around the US. So how we are able to afford it was to be able to share that. So you will see 2 different logos other than ours, Alabama and Pennsylvania.
Hey, morning. How are you?
And
I'm
so
good. You?
when you see those, don't be alarmed. You are on the right site.
Yeah, our logo will be at the top. Yep.
Right.
All
So we
right.
wanna-
I think I think we're going to open it up to Q&A. Anybody have questions? You can type it into the chat, or you can unmute yourself. We're a small group. You can unmute and ask your question if you want.
While we're waiting for people to type in or unmute, just so some projects. So let's talk about some projects. It could be where you have had a building before and there's a vacant lot and you want to activate that space. You want to put in some temporary games, some fun activities, some lights, some benches. That's a good project. You have a building that has an empty side that doesn't need tuck pointing, is in good shape, and you need to have a placement of a mural or something like that. Another great project. Installation of different art elements in your downtown, if it helps to activate space. There's just all kinds of, think outside the box. We've had other pitches before that activated alley spaces. There's just an array of different projects that could happen in every one of your downtowns. Every one of our communities should be able to make this pitch.
There's a question, what does audience participation look like at past pitches? It is just after all communities have presented their pitch, while the judges are contemplating, we do a quick, actually, I guess it's before the judges contemplate because they see the audience participation. We go through each project and just ask for applause. So, again, if you have a lot of people at the pitch party, you have some extra noise makers. We've had that done before. So it's just through clapping, noise, applause, hooting and hollering, that sort of thing. It's not, there's no scientific, we don't have a meter to measure. We just do it visually and audibly.
But the judges really look at the audience and see how engaged they are in the presentation. And so that's why you want more than a PowerPoint. Yep.
And then the question follow-up is, where will the pitch party be held? We're still working on that, but we think we have a really cool space for it, but just finalizing the agreement and those sorts of things. We always try to pick someplace fun.
Mm-hmm.
What other questions? While we're waiting for that, Gail, I realized I forgot to do something last night. So here's the scoring from the judges. So this is the judges' scorecard on all the different areas. So you can see down here, engaging presentation, audience participation are 15 and 10 points respectively. But then here's the rest of it too. And that'll be part of the application that you'll be able to see. And someone asked earlier, yes, we'll be sharing this link for the recording and the link for the grant later today or tomorrow with everybody. But you do have quite a bit of time. It's not due till June 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you all, anytime you have any questions, want to run something by us or have questions about the application, just reach out to us. We're here to help.
Let's see.
Budget need? Go ahead.
Debbie asked, could you share where the recording of this webinar is so that the entire board can watch it? You bet. These will be put on our YouTube page. So we have a Missouri Main Street Connection YouTube page. That's where you can find all of our webinars that we've done. But we'll also be emailing out a link to the grant application. And in that same email, we'll include a link to this video. And then, does a budget need to be included in your presentation or only on the paper application? Only in the paper application is where we need the budget. Yeah. So we're gonna, the judges will have access to the applications at some point, just so that they have a frame of reference, but really they'll be focusing on your presentation at the pitch party.
During the pitch
Good
party, but they
questions.
will go through these ahead of time.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
It gives them
We
a
go-
better reference as they're watching the presentation, because again, there's more stuff that you can put. We don't want to get into budget stuff in presentations. We want it to be the fun part. And so they'll have access to the applications ahead of time. What else? Good questions. Good questions. You guys all have something in mind? That's something you're thinking about?
Anybody want to share?
We won't rate your project. Anybody have thoughts? Something you're thinking about? We've had communities present more than once. Christine, do you have a question?
Well, I was just gonna say Carrollton has two new park areas, as one's as you come up from the south end, and then one if you're coming from the other highway from the east, and both of them are just, they have things falling down. It needs some activation.
Yeah, great.
That's great.
Yeah, parks, pocket parks, vacant lots. I mean, those are the types of things we're looking for. How do we activate that space?
We've got a spot, this is Debbie.
Hey, Debbie.
That is the building's no longer there, but it's got this really cool brick base.
Mhm.
And it's a very huge spot, but it's right on the railroad tracks across from a lot of activity downtown, and we're hoping to turn it into a venue that people could rent.
No,
And so we really got to dress it up, because it's just right now a bunch of abandoned bricks.
Mm.
It's
we
a
like
big
those
fun.
bricks though.
We like to, that's why we want to do something with them.
Yes, yes. It still tells a story. Mhm.
Yes. Not of dilapidation, we hope.
Right, that's right. Okay, somebody asked the question on the time limit. I believe it's 10 minutes. But we will, after you're notified that you are a finalist, we will confirm that up at that time, because it's going to be based upon how many semifinalists are going to have to make their pitch. In the past, I believe
Right.
we've done like 7 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to
Total.
look. I was trying to
5-minute
think of-
presentation, 7-minute total. Mhm.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that as we were talking about it, Galen. That's too many conferences ago to remember how long we gave them. But I was thinking it was 5 minutes too.
Yeah, the presentation piece, yeah. But again, it's going to be based on if they do think that, we have more than 5, then we would have to
Yep.
change that, or if we have
Yep.
less.
Yep. But yeah. And we announce the finalists. So they're due June 23rd. I'm sorry, June 24th at midnight. And we announce the finalist on June the 28th, so you can start working on your presentation if you're a finalist. And at that time, we'll give you all the specifics related to the presentation. If you're doing a video, how to submit that to us, and those sorts of things. And part of the timing will be in there.
Yeah. All good questions.
All right.
Anybody else? Anybody else have a project? Or thinking about a project? Okay.
While you're thinking, and I'll be the person that will work with you on your presentation if you're a finalist, what equipment we have, all those sorts of things. So reach out if you have questions when we get there. Reach out if you have questions as you're looking at the application. We're here to help. We're your partners. Feel free to reach out. If you don't know if you're in compliance, just let us know. Just reach out and we'll put that in the email also. Usually that goes to Ben on our staff for compliance, so take a look at that. Can a mural be on more than one building? our guidelines don't say no. Um,
Right.
and Del Mar's, I think, ended up being, well, it was supposed to be on one building, did end up being on, I think, multiple buildings. All right. If you have any other questions, just let us know, and good luck. And we'll be sending all this information out in the next day or so.
Okay. Thank you all. Have a great day. Enjoy the
Thank
sunshine.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.